We are continuing on Masechet Succah, and we started the fourth perek of Masechet on Daf Mimit, Amud Bet. We are holding by the Gemara at the very bottom of the Amud. We started the Gemara yesterday. We're going to go back to it. Today's Amud is being learned as a Sukkah Fashalema for Rachel Simcha bat Nahid, Michael ben Nahid, Rachel bat Edna, Esther Bracha bat Chaya, Rabbi Avraham ben Tashgol. This Amud is also learned as a zchut for the neshama of Jacqueline bat Avraham and Achdas. This month's learning of the community has been dedicated graciously by the Shea family, Dayan family, and Cohen family. It should be an ultimate zchut for all of their mishpachot. Amen. So, we started Lulav Arava and the laws of taking Lulav Arava in the days that we do take them on Shabbat and not on Shabbat. And the Mishnah started by saying that Lulav is taken 6 or 7 days. How is it going to be 6 or 7? Depends on the year. And the Mishnah said that if it falls to be first day of Sukkot on Shabbat, then that's a day, that's a year that you take it 7 days if Shabbat of the Chag, because 7 days obviously has Shabbat in them. So if the first day is not Shabbat, then the Shabbat Chol HaMoed, so to speak, you don't take Lulav. And whereas, wait a second, why in the world would you not take Lulav on Shabbat Chol HaMoed? Why not? And it says the Gemara, it's Tiltul Be'almahu. It's just Tiltul. It's a issue of Muktzeh. Now Muktzeh, last we checked, is a Isur. The Rabbanan, Pashtut of Muktzeh is a Isur the Rabbanan. So why would a mitzvah deoraita be bound to an issue that's only midrabanan? Midoraita, you could take anything on Shabbat. There's nothing that you can't touch, you can't handle necessarily. Well, the concept of Muktzeh itself is deoraita, but what we call Muktzeh when it comes to Lulav and Etrog, Hadas, V'arava, Megillah, all those things is the Rabbanan. So why wouldn't you be able to take it on Shabbat when you have a mitzvah d'oraita in the surrounding areas of the Mikdash to take Lulav, Hadas, V'arava? Why wouldn't you take it on Shabbat Chol HaMoed? And says the Gemara, the very famous eternal words of Rabbah, because maybe you're going to be all excited for doing the mitzvah, and then you're going to take it on Shabbat and go to someone that knows how to do nanuim, and you want to learn from him, and you're going to come to pass it. You're going to pass it through the Reshut HaRabim 4 amot, and that obviously will be a transgression of Shabbat, and therefore Chazal instituted that when Sukkot falls to be on Shabbat, Chol HaMoed, you don't take the Lulav on Shabbat Chol HaMoed, because lest you're going to come to carry it in the Reshut HaRabim on Shabbat. Fine, we understand that. And the Gemara says this is something familiar. We know it from also Rosh Hashanah falling on Shabbat. First day of Rosh Hashanah falling on Shabbat is the same thing. Ve'hainu tama, the shofar. It's the same halacha, says Rabbah, for shofar. Ve'hainu tama, the Megillah. We also know that a Purim that falls to be on Shabbat, a Tetvav that falls to be on Shabbat, we have Purim Meshulash. We don't do Megillah on Shabbat, because maybe you're going to come to take your Megillah to somebody to read it for you on Shabbat. Maybe you're going to come to take your shofar to someone to teach you how to blow for you on Shabbat, and therefore we just do away with the Megillah on Shabbat, with the shofar on Shabbat, and over here in our sugya with the Lulav on Shabbat Chol HaMoed. So says the Gemara, okay, if that's correct, Yom Rishon Nami. So the same logic should apply to the first day of Chag HaSukkot being on Shabbat. So says the Gemara, we just mentioned in the Mishnah that in the beginning they were taking, but afterwards, when they saw that people were coming to fight, you remember the whole Mishnah, the story of people, thousands of people coming, putting the lulav and coming in the morning, and then they would be pushing and shoving and fighting, and it was not nice. So Chazal made the takara that they should do it in their houses. Says the Gemara, once they made the takara that you can only do it in your house, not anywhere else, so then you know that you're not taking it out of your house. It's great. It's fine. Well, wait a second. How about before takara? If you can take it out, we understand that you may get fatumot, forget about Shabbat, but if you have to stay home, even if you forget about Shabbat, you know that you only could do it at home. But beforehand, it wasn't like that. Before they made the takana, what was the mitziut? They were taking it on Friday. Now, someone maybe forgets there, and then on Shabbat, he's going to take it to the Beit HaMikdash with himself, especially with all the traffic and pushing and shoving that's going on. Maybe they're going to do that. So this, what I says, no. El Rishon, the Gemara goes back on the whole thing. El Rishon, de'ite min haTorah, bigvulin, lo gazru behu Rabbanan. The first day, the additional reason you need. You know what the difference is by first day of Sukkot? If it falls on Shabbat, you push Shabbat away. You know why? Because the first day is more important. Why is it more? Because everywhere is the Oraita. You can't say that first day is not more important. First day is more important. Because everywhere, anywhere, by anyone is a mitzvah d'oraita. So a more important level of mitzvah lulav pushes away Shabbat. But if you don't have the more important level, if it's Shabbat Chol HaMoed, so taking lulav on Chol HaMoed is not as important. It's only the oraita in the gvulin. And therefore, it would be not as important to push Shabbat. So says the Gemara, fine, I accept that. But a further follow-up question of the Gemara is, so now, how about nowadays, first day? So you're telling me first day is more important. Chazak Baruch, Kibalu Mesirat Amodah. So nowadays, let's take it on first day, right? We should. So says the Gemara. You know, the Ramban actually held, so that Yachid, basically, the Ramban held that in Makom HaBetin, if you have a Betin Kavua, if you have like the equivalent of Sanhedrin, so you could, in Makom HaBetin, you could blow shofar on Shabbat. So he felt that he had that authority at that level of a thing, and he would blow shofar on Shabbat in his Betin. Right? He would do that. Everyone else rejected that, obviously, and we know what the halacha is. But nevertheless, so why don't we do it nowadays? Says the Gemara. The other days are not from the Torah. Bigvulin gazru be'urabanan. You know, when they other days of the Chag, the Chol HaMoed days of the Chag, that it's not Min Torah Bigvulin, it's not the Oraita in the areas outside of the Beit HaMikdash, Gazru Behu Rabbanan. Chazal made a gezerah on that even in the Makom HaMikdash, if it falls to be on Shabbat, the Shabbat of Chol HaMoed, you don't take it, it doesn't push away Shabbat. Fine. Yachi Haidna Nami. If that's correct, says the Gemara, nowadays we should also be able to push away Shabbat when the first day of Sukkot falls to be on Shabbat. Gemara says no. The reason is because we don't know when the actual Yom Tov is, because we don't know if today is first day of Rosh Hashanah, because the previous month was, Elul was 29 days, and now therefore is the first day of Tishrei. Or maybe Elul was 30 days, and today is not the first day of Tishrei, is just the 30th day of Elul. So what is it today? Is it Rosh Hashanah? I don't know, 50-50, right? So when you have safek, misafek, you gotta push away Shabbat. No, we aren't gonna do it. We don't even know if it's Rosh Hashanah today. Well, I says, okay, fine. So we don't know. Chazak u'baruch. But they know it. And nowadays, today, we do know based on the calendar, because the history of it, a synopsis of the history of this was that in the time of the early Hachamim, still the Kiddush HaChodesh was al pi ariyah. That people, you had to have a Bedin, a Sanhedrin, and you needed to have Edim, that they actually saw the new moon, and they would rush to the Bedin to tell you that they saw the new moon, and the Bedin would have a whole process of cross-examination to make sure they're not, joking around, they're not making it up, and so on and so forth. And this is where they had to actually know astronomy and all this. Where do you see it? Which side of the sky was it? Which side it was facing? And all those things. And sometimes the Edim, if they were not for real, they would obviously say things that would not make sense based on astronomy. Let's say the moon, the new moon, is the inside of it facing this way or is facing that way, right? And that it really depends on which half of the month you're in. And new moon would be this way, right? The end of the month will be that way. And if the Edim would say something that made absolutely no sense, so that would not be a valid thing, they would cross-examine them, and when they would be proven to be correct, they would be Mekadesh the Chodesh. And that would be in Eretz Yisrael, obviously. So Eretz Yisrael, they knew within a day or two, depending on when they saw it, again, the beginning would be a little hard, but they would know it by the third day of the month. They would know when the Rosh Chodesh was, at least, right? But by Kivulim, by areas outside, it would take a long time. It would take until the 15th of month. Why would it take until, because 15th of month, you look at the thing, you see a full moon, so then you know it, right? So at some point when the Stukim would bother with falsehood, and the Galut was becoming very difficult, the time of a Nasi Hillel, not the Hillel HaZaken, but Hillel HaNasi, what we call, he was a tremendous baki in the laws of calendars, and he instituted the calendar we have today. So he was Mekadesh, that Chodesh, and the next one, and the next one, and this one in 2025 that we just had as well. He created the laws of calendar, so now we have the calendar. So we have the calendar. Now we know what but Gemara says in Masechet Succah, Daf Dalit, that if that's the case, so why do we still have 2 days of Yom Tov in Chutz La'aretz? So let's do away with that, right? Yom Tov Midoraita is 1 day. And the Gemara has a reason that the Gemara discusses over there, why it is that we keep in Chutz La'aretz 2 days of Yom Tov today, which we absolutely know what day is actual Yom Tov should be. It's not a 50-50 safek at all. It's not a safek for that matter at all. So if it's not a safek, why do we still keep 2 day Yom Tov? Why is it so important? That the Gemara discusses in Masechet Succah, Daf Dalit. So says the Gemara, now knowing all this history, Gemara says, fine. Yachi ha'idna nami. So nowadays, also we should be able to push away Shabbat for the first day of the Chag, that falls to be on Shabbat. So the Gemara says, this is again the time of the Gemara is still before the calendar days. We don't know the Kiviyah de Yarcha. Inu diyadi bekiviyah de Yarcha. So God says, fine, I'm okay with that. But the people in Eretz Yisrael, they should be able to do it. People in Yerushalayim, they should be able to do it. They know the Kiviyah de Yarcha. Litchu, they should push away Shabbat and take their Arba Minim on Shabbat morning, first day of Sukkot. But we know that they don't do that. So why not? So Gemara says, in Achinami, they actually would do it. Who says they don't? In Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim, they do it. They do it on Shabbat. Gemara says, okay. No. The Talmud Gemara. Right? Gemara says, now we'll see. The Gemara, this whole thing sounds very nice. The Gemara is going to fall off of the whole thing. But now the Gemara is going through the process of, I need to understand why we're not taking this on Shabbat. So he told me, because we're going to carry it on Shabbat, but then we have all these follow-up questions, and the Gemara is going through one by one answering the questions. What now we're holding right now is, well, who says you shouldn't? You should. It's not a matter of the time of the Beit HaMikdash, not time of the Beit HaMikdash. First day is more important. That's what the Gemara says. First day is more important. If the first day is more important, and you also know that it is the first day, it's not a Sfeka de Yoma 50-50. You know today is the first day of Chag HaSukkot. It happens to be on Shabbat, and the first day is more important. Let's push away Shabbat and take Lulav. But says, yeah, we do that. And Achinami. And the Gemara says, I will prove it to you. I prove to you that even after Beit HaMikdash fell, still they were taking Lulav first day of Chag HaSukkot that fell to be on Shabbat. So says the Gemara, there are two different Mishnayot that we had. Right? One Mishnah says, Chada, B'yom Tov Rishon Shel Chag, Shchal Yom Shabbat. First day of Chag, that falls to be on Shabbat. Kol ha'am morichin et lulavehen lahar habayit. Right? Everyone would take their lulav to Har HaBayit. Where was that? Membet Amud Bet. Our Mishnah, right, that we just started. Lulav Arava.
Friday.
Right, of course. But they would take it on Shabbat. Right? Yeah, obviously, we're not suggesting you should be pushing away Shabbat to carry on Shabbat. We're talking about Isur Muktzeh, right? So they would take it on Shabbat. So says the Gemara. And there's another Mishnah. This is the previous daf, like Memalif. There we learned the Bet HaKnesset, that everyone would take their lulav to Bet Knesset. So why the difference in the Mishnayot? Why Har HaBayit and Bet Knesset? Well, because it says the Gemara, the second Mishnah, which was mentioned first in the Gemara, when it says Bet HaKnesset, is because they didn't have the Beit HaMikdash anymore. The first one is talking about the time of the Beit HaMikdash, so he took the lulav to Har HaBayit. And the second one is talking about when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, and you're taking your lulav to Bet Knesset from Erev Shabbat, and then you take it from there. So says the Gemara, Shma Mina, Kan Bizman Beit HaMikdash Kayam, Kan Bizman She'en Beit HaMikdash Kayam. One of them is talking about the case they have it in Beit HaMikdash. The other one is talking about the case they don't have the Beit HaMikdash. So says the Gemara, Shma Mina. That's the maskara. So this is so far the maskara for this moment. Now we'll see the Gemara is going to fall off of this, right? So don't get very excited to move to Eretz Yisrael in order to maybe you should get excited for a different reason, but not for taking lulav on Shabbat, first day of Chol HaMoed, because that we're going to fall off of. But at this moment, the Gemara thinks that, yeah, Enochinami, falls Shabbat, first day of Chol HaMoed, first day of Yom Tov, of Chag HaSukkot, on Shabbat, in a place that you know, Kiviyot de Yarcha, which nowadays would be really everywhere, right? You take the lulav on Shabbat, right? So just freeze this in your minds. We will come back to this, right?
So we're saying that it's more likely that someone is going to not know how to shake the lulav and is going to go and get an etzah on how to shake the lulav or blow the shofar, than forgetting to bring his lulav or his shofar to Beit Knesset and carrying it. It would seem to me that it's much more likely that someone is going to forget to bring it on Friday and then carry it on Shabbat, than to not know how to do lulav and go and ask someone.
Okay, so that's a good question, a very valid question. The answer to that is the following. We're not talking about a person that doesn't care about the halachot. We're not talking about a person that is not important for him or doesn't know the halacha. So therefore, if you wake up in the morning and say, oh, gee, I forgot to take my lulav to the Beit HaMikdash or to Beit Knesset yesterday, so let me take it now, right? Shabbat, it's nothing, it's a brick wall, right? Unless you are so nervous and you're going to forget that Shabbat today, right? How so? You wake up and say, I have no idea how to do this thing. nanuim. I was so busy. How am I going to do my mitzvah? And I'm going to go to Rabbi Shea, right? And he's going to teach me how to do it. Amazing. So he forgets. From being nervous, from being fatumult, he forgets that Shabbat. A person does not necessarily, if it's something that causes a person to forget Shabbat, then we are concerned about it. A person not knowing what to do is something that makes a person fatumult. I don't know how to do with shofar. There's 2 days, I'm going to forget. I don't even know how to blow shofar. What am I going to do? So you forget that today that's Rosh Hashanah, it's Yom Tov. It also happens to be on Shabbat. That's what you forget about. Today that is the first day of Chag. You're so excited about the Chag, you forget that it's Shabbat because you are so nervous that you don't know what to do with your lulav. I haven't even wrapped my lulav. I don't know what to do. Right? You forget. If a person knows that Shabbat, we're not concerned that he's not going to care about the fact that he can't carry Arba Amot B'Shut Rabim because he forgot to take it yesterday. That we're not concerned about. You need to have a scenario. And Chazal in their genius knew that the person that is mevohal, how do you say that in English, right? Behala, right? A person that is confused and is nervous, that person is going to forget and not be able to keep it properly. Not a person that forgot to do the mitzvah, forgot to prepare, but he knows how to handle it. He wakes up and says, oh, Shabbat today. I forgot to take it. So, okay, so I'll go there and borrow al-minat la'achzir from somebody there, and I'll do it. That's not something, a big deal. Versus if you don't know how to do it, even if you borrow, you don't know how to do it. So you have to do a proper thing.
Why doesn't this apply to Brit Milah? Like a Moel bringing his utensils to shul, he might forget and try to ask someone else. And could go around with his tools to ask someone else.
So because hopefully he's not running, if he's a mohel, he's not running to learn Brit Milah today. Hopefully he has years of experience. Is not masur lakol. It's not given to everybody in that same way. A person that is appointed to be the mohel, he knows hopefully how to do it, and therefore it's not going to be the same thing. Now we're going to talk about Brit Milah in just a moment.
I understand that lulav throat you can learn in 5 minutes. You can't learn how to blow shofar the morning of Rosh Hashanah. In what world would someone think that they could wake up on the day of Rosh Hashanah, go to their neighbor's house, and he's going to teach them how to blow the shofar? It takes months to learn how to blow shofar.
It seems like you never learned to blow shofar.
No,
it's like a see one, do one, teach one. It's a person that knows how to blow shofar, but at the same time, you don't know how many seconds do I have to do, where do I break it, how's shvarim, how is this. So that you could learn. If you know how to sound the shofar, but you don't know the details of, okay, I know that some of this has to be with 1 breath, some of them have to be with 2 breaths, some of them have to be 6 seconds long, some of them have to be 3 seconds long. So which one is which? That you could learn.
Rabbi, you're telling me in 1 hour before Rosh Hashanah, you're going to give a pre-Rosh Hashanah shiur to all of us, and we're all going to be baki is that what, you're telling me that in 1 hour before Rosh Hashanah, we're going to have a shiur here. We're all going to bring our shofars, and Rabbi is going to teach us how to do the shofar the day before Rosh Hashanah?
I did it in COVID, right? We trained a whole bunch of people to go. And the technicality of the halachas is not more than 1 hour. You have to know how to sound the shofar. Then you have to know the details of it. Now, who said 1 hour? Maybe it's 3 hours. I don't know.
The guy that woke up.
Oh, isn't it more like
right?
the mohel would forget to bring his utensils and then carry them on Shabbat?
Say it again?
Isn't it more likely that the mohel would forget to bring his utensils on Friday to put it in wherever he's doing the Brit Milah and then carry them on Shabbat publicly? Isn't that more
Again, this is the question he's asking. He's saying, why aren't we concerned? The Mishnah said that people would take their lulav and take it to the Beit HaMikdash on Friday. And says Dr. Shea, why aren't you concerned that people are going to forget to take it to the Beit HaMikdash and get up in the morning and say, oh, gee, I forgot, I'm going to carry it, right? Because we're not concerned that the person that is he knows what to do. But he's, at this moment, the Gemara thinks that the person not knowing what to do is more of confusion, which would lead, it's a very clear human psychology. A person that feels that they don't know what to do with themselves, they are much more prone to doing strange things, forget about things, than a person that knows exactly what to do, but he just realizes at some point that he messed up. Okay, fine, I'll go. And what's the problem? There's no problem. I'm going to go find somebody and borrow it, and I'm going to do it. I know the halachot, I know the thing. Whereas someone that has his lulav and etrog, he wakes up, how many people this happens to? You have your etrog and lulav and halas arba, and you get up in the morning, you think, oh, it's the day of Yom Tov, and I haven't even opened my fancy dairy lulav. I haven't even taken it out of its plastic wrap to wrap it. You know how many times it happens? How many people come in the morning and they're, how do I do this? Rabbi, you gotta teach me. I'm about to say Halil. For Hashem's sake, have a lot of ahmanut. You had all this time to learn about it. You don't have to come Yom Tov morning, there's shiurim online, Torah anytime, all this. This is the reality of the world. People, and they're all confused, and they forget all about their humanity. They have to go to stop someone else from the process of their tefillah to learn how to do it. Nothing has changed. It's the same exact thing. People who don't know what to do, they get confused more, and that's how Chazal saw it.
But what about the mohel? What if you got nervous on Friday and you forgot to take the...
Why would he get nervous?
He does this all the time. I'm not so thinking about
But the mohel was allowed to carry his... So the mohel can
No.
carry his equipment.
He has to drop it off.
No, well, simply put, no. Yeah.
I'll let it go, Rabbi.
Yeah, we'll discuss it. This is the whole moral thing is discussed in the 19th parak of Masechet Shabbat, Daf Kuf Lamed Daled, Aleph and on. But and we're gonna allude to it just in a moment, right? Well, not anymore. Today we were going to speak about it. So let's see. Let's at least finish the sentence over here. So the Gemara says, well, you have these two Mishnahs. One of them says that if you have the lulav, you bring your lulav to Harabayit on Friday. The other one says you bring your lulav to Bet Knesset. Why would you go to Bet Knesset if you have the Harabayit? Obviously, he's talking about the case that we no longer, unfortunately, had the Harabayit, and therefore, you see that even after the Churban Bet HaMikdash, even ha'itna, so to speak, we will take lulav on Shabbat, first day of Chag HaSukkot. And that's where the Gemara leaves this as of this moment. Again, as we mentioned, we're going to revisit this and drop off of this in the later Gemara. But this is what the Gemara thinks as of this moment. We will continue this Be'ezrat Hashem in the days to come.